Everything we know here on Earth is made up of atoms. We are familiar with 118 different types. These are called elements. What is so fantastic about these building blocks is that if we put them together in different ways, we get different materials. In other words, everything you see, like honey, a mountain, and, well, even you yourself, are made up of the same building blocks. Living organisms such as plankton and algae contain large amounts of hydrogen and carbon atoms. As these organisms die, they sink to the ocean floor, where they are mixed with other organic material that has been washed out to sea by rivers. Sand and particles gradually and continually cover the material, and millions of years later, this organic material ends up far below the seabed, where everything is compressed and becomes sedimentary rock. It is hot here, deep within the Earth's crust, and the organic mass inside the rock is broken down, and oil and gas are formed from the same building blocks that were found in algae and plankton. In 1997, an exploration well was drilled on 1,000 meters sea depth outside the Storegga slide in the Norwegian Sea. Gas was discovered 2.5 kilometers under the seabed. The reservoir was named Ormen Lange, after the largest Viking ship we know of. Shell, operator of the Ormen Lange field, has drilled some of the world's largest gas wells in order to extract the resources from the field. Along with the gas, we also found a considerable volume of light oil, which we call condensate. There is also some water in the formation. There is no platform on Ormen Lange. Instead, we have installations located on the seabed, protected from wind and rough weather. These installations are remote controlled from the control room located on shore. It is very cold on the seabed, sometimes even below minus. This can cause water and gas to react and form hydrates, which are gas molecules that adhere to water molecules and form a viscous mass, almost like sticky snowballs. This can make it difficult to transport the gas to land. One way of avoiding this is to add an antifreeze solution which binds the water without becoming sticky. This allows the well stream to flow easily through the pipelines. We're talking large distances. The Ormen Lange onshore facility is located 120 kilometers from the reservoir, and it takes many hours from when a gas molecule leaves the reservoir in the Norwegian Sea until it reaches land at Nyhamna on the northwest coast of Norway. 1 square kilometer of the process facility is designed to efficiently separate the well stream components. The first thing the well stream encounters when it reaches land is a large system of pipes called a slug catcher. Since gas, oil and water each have their own specific weight, they will separate naturally. Gas is lightest and will rise while the liquid collects at the bottom. Let's follow the gas first. This gas still contains a little condensate and water, which must be removed before the gas is ready for export. It will now be sent to a 10-meter dehydration tower to remove the water. The gas enters at the bottom and moves upward. Triethylene glycol is added at the top to capture the water, almost like Lego blocks that fit together perfectly. The Lego blocks sink down and out through a pipe at the bottom. The gas continues to move upward, now without water, and is routed out through a pipe at the top of the tower. There is still a little condensate in the gas after this process. The warmer the gas, the more condensate it can hold. That is why we cool down the gas. We can use pressure to regulate the temperature. When we lower the pressure, the gas expands and becomes colder. All of this takes place in a reverse compressor called a turbo expander. Now the condensate forms dew, just like the dewdrops we see on grass in the morning. 10 minutes have passed since the gas arrived at Nyhamna, and it is almost ready for export. The last thing we do is compress the gas to achieve less volume and higher pressure. This makes it possible to transport the gas through the world's longest subsea pipeline. The gas now faces a 3 to 4 day journey before arriving at its destination in the UK, some 1,200 kilometers away. Here, in the slug catcher, most of the condensate and water was separated from the gas at the very beginning of the process. The next stop for the liquid is a large tank called a separator. Because of their different specific weights, the two liquids will separate and the water will collect at the bottom of the tank while the lighter condensate will float to the top. Pour a little cooking oil and water into a glass and you can see the process for yourself. The condensate is routed to large underground caverns where it will be stored until it is pumped onto tankers and sold. Although gas is the main product from Ormen Lange, significant volumes of valuable condensate are also produced. The water that was separated from the oil still contains antifreeze solution that was added to prevent hydrate formation. We separate this in a distillation process. The antifreeze solution is then routed back to the subsea installations, where it is reused over and over again. The water that remains will now be subjected to a final cleaning process before it can be discharged. Bacteria are added to the water to remove residues and impurities. The natural resources on the continental shelf belong to Norway as a nation and are for the benefit of the Norwegian people. Over a period of 40 years of petroleum industry, the revenues derived from oil and gas have helped build Norway into a modern welfare state. A dedicated fund has been established to ensure that future generations will also reap the benefits of these revenues. At maximum production, Ormen Lange delivers up to 20% of all the gas used in Great Britain. Ormen Lange thus contributes to secure energy supplies to Europe, as well as supporting Norwegian development and value creation for many years to come.